Propane Expo. This is Ignite with Tom. So what we do here is we talk to vendors, we talk to manufacturers, we talk to all sorts of people. We've had accountants on our show, we've had women in energy on the show, but we just want to just have a conversation to show everybody what you do, talk about what you do, and just kind of a relaxed conversation that really dives into more, just some general ideas of what you do as a person, what you do as a business, and how you help the propane industry. Kind of, just a casual conversation that really helps define what you guys do without the sales pitch that nobody likes. A cold call sales pitch. Nobody likes salespeople coming in the door at all anyway, right? So this is kind of get that warm and fuzzy and introduce you to the propane industry. And you guys have been around forever anyway. You're nothing new. But Brian Humphreys, CEO. Today we're going to talk about One Tank, which is your latest product. How long has One Tank been out?
One Tank itself is actually just now being launched. We've done similar projects with it for a long time, about 15 years, but this is the first time. So One Tank is actually a software dashboard, and that is just being launched within the next 30 days or so.
And you use this software with the Sky Tracker monitor that you guys have? Okay. So just to give everybody kind of an opening of what One Tank is, you are a software company that utilizes a product that you manufacture that monitors the level of the propane in a domestic storage tank or commercial storage tank, right?
Yeah. So we, a lot of people are familiar with tank monitors. That's pretty common nowadays in the industry. And we were actually one of the first ones. We really kind of set the stage for what tank monitoring is, even now, way back in 2004, 2005. But we've always had kind of some patents and some special things that we can do with it. And One Tank is a dashboard that really is built around those unique things that allow us to do much more than just tank monitoring. So tank monitoring is a piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole.
You guys have an awesome software program that actually allows you to bill off of what is consumed from this tank monitor, right? I mean, that's the whole idea behind One Tank, is to not only monitor the product, but to be able to create invoices for the consumer.
Yeah, so metered billing and tertiary storage has been a conversation around the industry for a long time. It's a good option that would be great if it was logistically convenient to actually accomplish. But as far as installing meters on the tanks and having to go manually do checks, and it just was never really that feasible to do. And so between tank monitoring and our patented algorithms in the background, it allows us to basically use tank monitor as a meter. And so it really streamlines the whole process, and it turns the whole business model of propane, the propane business, upside down to where it's more proactive instead of reactive. And it puts the control in the propane distributor's hands instead of, relying on the will calls and, the 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon calls, those kinds of things.
So there's so many benefits to this that I can just think of off the top of my head. And I've never been in the retail side of propane. I worked for my father's business for 25 years, and we did all sorts of things in propane, from manufacturing equipment, wholesale, rail terminals, cylinder exchange. We were in, almost everything but retail. But I as a construction guy that was manufacturing or installing bulk storage tanks, that's expensive. Like, that's a super expensive bulk storage is expensive, and it's only getting more expensive too.
Right now, with steel right now.
Steel, pipe and fittings, labor, the permitting process, the transportation of these tanks. It is just insanely expensive to set up even a simple storage like an 18,000 gallon tank. But if you have 18 customers and you have 1,000-gallon tank that you're leasing to these guys for nothing, pretty much, that's 18,000 gallons of storage that you could potentially use at a whole new level that you might not have been thinking about in the past.
Yeah.
So I mean, what comes to my mind is not only just the cost savings of the bulk tank installation, but those moments, because I was in wholesale for a long time, and there'd be
Okay.
times where producer would call and say, "Hey, I got this gas, you want to get rid of it? Special deal." And you'd start calling people like, "Hey, guys, oh man, my storage is full. I can't, we're just bad time of year." But if you were in that position and you had what the software and everything that you have here, you could be like, "Yeah, come bring it to me. I'll go send that out to my tanks that belong to me. I've already paid for them. The
Yeah.
customer is going to consume the gas eventually anyway, right?"
Yep.
So this is like a no-brainer, and it's nothing new. This has been around for a while, but in the past it was so labor intensive to go around and install the meters and monitor the meters. Your software and program does this what automatically through satellite or cell service? How does that work?
Yeah. So currently and historically, we've always used direct to satellite. So there's a modem right on the device. It shoots transmission straight to the satellite, and it's not like your direct TV satellite dish where if there's a storm overhead, you're going to lose signal. It transmits through just about anything other than metal or concrete. But if you have metal or concrete above your propane tank, you have other problems. I think in most cases. So there's very few instances where we can't connect through satellite. We are launching a cellular module as well now. Should be ready in probably September. Our goal is to be able to have it ready before winter gets here. So that would be it's a lower cost version. Satellite's more expensive, and so we're trying to make it a little bit more affordable, because you don't necessarily need satellite everywhere, especially with cellular networks expanding more and more as every year.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's as soon as you plug it on the tank, it's very easy. I mean, you snap it into the remote ready dial in the tank, and it has 4 magnets, and it sits right on top. And as soon as it's there, it starts transmitting. And so
Is this a new device, or is this the same device that you've been using before?
we've had this particular device about 3 years now, and we've
Okay.
recently made some updates mechanically. So it's the same basic device, but it's actually packaged in a better, more reliable way now. And so yeah, this is the device we've had for years. And we started out with SkyTracker 1. We're using SkyTracker 4 right now. So
Okay.
we've gone through 4 generations. We've learned a lot since then. We've deployed a lot of units out there. We've had a lot of hard lessons along the way. And right now we're really confident in the product that we're putting out there.
Are you manufacturing this, like chips and stuff for this? You have a partner that manufactures this stuff for you?
So we have multiple vendors. So we have someone who manufactures the circuit board. We have another person who manufactures the enclosure. We get the Rochester cables and the gauges, and so we do all the final assembly and testing here in house.
Maybe you could lend some of that chip manufacturing to Ford so we could get some trucks back on the road.
Right.
Have you had problems getting electronic components?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we've had to get kind of creative, swapping out some components, because some of these components have lead times of 6 to 9 months.
Oh man, I can imagine. I've
Yeah.
heard some horror story. Well, you see it on the news all the time with the vehicle manufacturers just really struggling to get microchips, I guess, for these trucks. So you guys have plenty of product and you're ready to roll out, or what's your timeline on this? If somebody is like, "Yeah, I want to do this," how soon could they actually get this product in their hands?
It depends on quantity, but we always keep several hundred here on the shelf, pretty much ready to go. So if someone wants to order 50, 100 units to get started, which we recommend starting with about 50, then about 3 days we'll get it out. So you'll have it in your hands within a week, probably less, but we try to get it out within 72 hours of the order actually being signed.
I kind of hijacked the whole cost savings scenario with the storage, because I was too excited to tell my story about about building storage facilities. But what you've done some studies, you've done some numbers for people to look at. Besides, what's your model for savings on just the storage? And then maybe you can talk more about not only just storage savings, but delivery routing service. I mean, that's got to be, I can only imagine just being able to send a guy out and say, just fill up all these right in a row and not
Yeah.
driving around in circles. So can you talk about the cost savings for somebody that took on this type of billing?
Yeah, and it varies by propane marketer for sure, and it really depends on their own throughput and how efficient they already are versus what this can do for them. But the beauty of this is it puts all the control entirely into your hands. So you can fill those tanks whenever you want and whenever's most convenient for you. So you can actually wait until the market is your prices are low, demand is low, and then you can buy up all that inventory and then go put it in the tanks where it's already going to be used. And that's part of the beauty too. As opposed to adding on a bunch of bulk storage, even if you get it in the storage, you still have to get it to the customer at some point. But in this case, your storage is already where it needs to be. It's already there. And so the beauty of this is you can do this, especially before wintertime. So as fall starts to come in and before, the highest peak months like, October and then December and January, especially, you can pre-fill a lot of those. And since it's still your asset in the tank and it's being built as it consumed, that means you bought it for lower, and then whenever you sell it, you could sell it at market value. So you can make huge returns with some of these market spikes. One customer in particular, a couple of years ago, whenever there was a late winter and early harvest kind of met, and here in the Midwest, that caused all kinds of complications, and price per gallon spiked about $1 per gallon. And it went over about a 3 to 4 week period. We asked one of our customers to where if he would have had this system in place for the gallons that he moved during that time period, how much did he lose? And his price difference was $1 per gallon, and he moved about 150,000 gallons in that time. To where if he would have actually unloaded that prior to that price spike, he would have just banked anywhere between $100,000 to $150,000 dollars just from being a little bit prepared.
Wow. So if you put this software in, does this do the billing for you, or is there another software you need to do that? How in depth is this software I mean, because basically you guys are a technology company. So how does this? Yeah. What else do you need besides just what you have to offer?
Sure. Yeah. So the long-term plan is to be all in one, to where we have the entire billing platform in the same system. Currently, what the dashboard is, it's really a storage management system. So one tank, what it really means is it's a digital representation of one big bulk storage tank. So if you combine all of your tanks in the field and you bring it all into one big tank, that's the first thing you see when you log into the portal, is you see one big propane tank that shows you your total amount of gallons in inventory.
That's on the front of your website, right? So I'm looking at that right now. So you got your total storage. It includes all your tanks out there, your bulk plant, a couple bulk plants, and then these are broken up into routes, right? So one route could have X amount of, so you get to monitor that.
Yeah. The same concept applies to the route. So you can see your total storage that is available across all your tanks. Then you can actually drill down and see how much storage is available in this particular route. So then you can start planning, okay, I have these 2 trucks with X amount of gallons, and you have these routes over here that have this much available. And you can really, your efficiency. And our main goal is, let's see, what's the calculation for most gallons delivered per lease mile driven?
There you go. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, is the miles driven, right? I mean, every time you put another mile on the truck, that's so big. I mean, that's what almost everything, at least in the wholesale side and transportation, when I was in it, the insurance was billed by the mile. Most of the transport drivers got billed or paid by the mile. So your maintenance cost is all calculated by the mile. The life expectancy of the truck, and trucks, holy cow, bobtails have, I think they've doubled in the last 10 years. I mean, they're pushing 200 grand a truck. So do you have any numbers on like how many trucks you might be able to take off the road?
We've had some estimates. It really, and again, it really depends on the marketer. You can definitely, we actually look at it a different way. Instead of taking trucks off the road, we try to promote, use this to be more efficient, and then you can actually start expanding and using those trucks to push even further.
Yeah. So, no, that's a good angle at it, right? It's not that you need to remove the truck, but use that truck to continue growing your business and not have to worry
Yeah.
about, well, we can't afford to grow because we can't afford to buy another truck, or we can't
Yeah.
afford to grow because we can't afford to buy another bulk plant.
Yeah. And that's an important thing too, is the meter billing concept is really attractive to most end users, because a lot of people don't have the income to where they can comfortably drop $800 or
Oh,
$1,000
yeah.
at one time, which is why there's all kinds of budget billing platforms out there. Where this is really designed to be kind of in line with their income as it is already, so they pay each month as they use it, just like they do every other utility with water and natural
I,
gas and electric. So
Look, man, I live in the city. I have to use natural gas. I know. I've been shamed for this publicly several times, but
heathen.
yeah, but the reality is the best thing for me and my family was to get on this equal payment plan where the gas company just bills me the same amount every month. And then at the end of the year, they reconcile it and say, well, you used a little bit more, you used a little less. It's never less. It's always more and more because
Right.
the gas prices keep going up. And then they adjust my equal payment plan, and it goes up a few bucks every year. And that's probably the most traditional, or the most used way of utility billing across the country. And
Oh, absolutely.
if you see it's not hard to find the news about all these people that are expanding outside of the cities into these rural and suburbs, and they're getting out of the cities because they can now work remotely. And it's being the housing market, you can see that obviously is just going nuts. Where I'm in Utah, and we cover Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. All four of these states are just growing like crazy. And that's just another customer that you have to buy some steel for. You have to make sure your storage is upgraded or increased. And then you have to explain to this new customer the new way of how we do business, right? We fill your tank up and we charge you a whole bunch of money, and you have to
Yeah.
pay for it. And people aren't used to that. They love the easy payment plan stuff. It's just automatic, comes out of my bank account every
Yeah.
month, and there's no surprises. And you could do that with this service, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it actually makes them more comfortable because they don't have to worry about running out of gas, or a lot of times they'll end up using more gas
More
rather than
gas, yeah.
the old mile. Because
Oh,
yeah,
I guarantee it. Yeah, it's like
they're not worried about that
before,
big bill coming around the corner.
yeah, before they're watching their tank and their levels, and they're telling, turn the heater down, get out of the
Yeah.
shower.
We only got 10% left. We gotta conserve.
I
Yeah.
can guarantee people use more gas when they're on some type of budget billing program. And this makes it so easy because you're getting these numbers, what, daily, weekly, monthly? How often does the supplier get the numbers for how
Yeah.
much this person consumed?
So we can set it to whatever we want, but the standard model is every 72 hours it'll transmit no matter what. But it wakes up every hour and it scans and looks for a change. So it's not going to just keep sending you redundant information. So, but as soon as it notices a drop of say 10%, or say it hits 25%, and you set that as your critical low, there's several alerts in there to where as soon as it hits one of those triggers, it'll wake up and it'll transmit and update you. So
Hmm.
72 hours no matter what, but if anything changes, you'll know about it within 1 hour.
I wonder, is that we never talked about this. Is this like is there a way to tie that into some safety? Like if there's a gas leak, you get an alert that they use too much or not?
Yeah, actually, that's one thing. Another thing that kind of sets us apart, and then part of what our patents allow us to do, is we actually take on-site degree days. So every single device has a temperature sensor on there, and we have on-site degree days for every single location. And we're not looking at those degree days to forecast how much they're going to use. We're actually using it to compare against what they're actually using. And so if their degree days suggest that they should be using X amount of gallons, but they're actually using this amount of gallons, it'll send you an alert as well saying, hey, it's not going to necessarily tell you there is a gas leak, but it's going to tell you there's something wrong. Either they're
Oh yeah.
consuming too much, or on the other end, they're not consuming enough. So there's no change when there's expected. So either they left town, or maybe there's a stuck flow gauge, something like that. So it
Wow.
won't tell you the the exact problem, but it'll tell you that something's off.
So is this all temperature compensated numbers then?
Correct.
Wow. So that's another big deal, because how many times does somebody
Yep.
go fill a customer in the middle of the winter when the gas is, everybody knows temperature compensation shrinks. You're selling your product at 60 degrees temperature compensated. And when it shows up into the customer's tank and it's 10 degrees outside, they think they got hosed because the float gauge doesn't show as much
Right.
as the ticket shows. So temperature compensated real-time data. And is there a consumer side of this where I could say, I want to see what my tank level is?
Yeah, we have a mobile app specifically designed for the end user. So that's part of the resell package. So, not only is there a ton of benefits for the propane marketer, but they can actually resell it, to their customers if they want. That's totally up to the marketer. But yeah, they will have their own mobile app. They can log in and they can see their current level and their usage. And they can even contact, their propane marketers through there. And
Wow.
all that stuff. So yeah,
that's I don't know anybody I don't even know the natural gas companies that do that, to get on and be like, oh yep, I used this much gas today, right? I mean, so a consumer could track their usage like every 3 days. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and they'll be able to look at, okay, I used X amount of gallons last month.
The hot tub used too much gas. You gotta turn that sucker down. Huh?
Yep. And they don't have to worry about it. So it's seamless filling for them. So it's same. It'd be similar, like receiving natural gas, because it never stops. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have to call and say, hey, I need more. It's out of sight and out of mind for them.
Customer retention has got to be huge on this. I can only imagine the numbers of, and that's another big thing, is a lot of these gas companies are just swapping customers. They're not actually out getting new customers. So, wow, customer retention, equal billing, saving money on your storage, saving money on your trucks, saving money by being able to buy product when it's cheapest. There's just so much savings here. It's unbelievable. I hope everybody can go to your website. What is that? You got it's one-tank.com. We popped up. We got it's also in the chat panel there. You can reach out to Brian. Brian, what's your email address?
It's bhumphrey@one-tank.com.
I really think that I've seen a lot of products and some of them are just gimmicks. This is no gimmick. This is a real deal. And if you want to step outside the traditional propane billing box, give Brian a call, get set up with a demo, get set up with some samples, some information, and revolutionize your business. So thank you so much, Brian, for being here. I think MR is going to kick us off any second anyway.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it was great. This will be recorded, or it was recorded, and it'll be on all the YouTube stuff for VPE. And I'm sure we'll be replaying it over and over and over again. So, and you'll get a copy too if you want to. If you want to continue to listen to yourself and myself speak, I know there's a lot of people that really just want to listen to us to put them to sleep at night. So good job.
Fair enough.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, MR.